Welcome to Next Step Advanced Sketching Techniques. Students, today we're going to sketch out a photorealistic dinner scene. All right, let's get started. First thing we're going to do is draw a table, and so we're going to use a sideways to the left, smoothed out, inverted C, and then we're going to flip that into the mirror. And then for our table legs, we're going to do a backwards or flipped B, and then a regular B. Same for the other side, a flipped backwards B, and then a regular B. For the other two, a backwards B and a regular B, a backwards B, and a regular B. These are smaller because they're further away from the art taster's vantage point. All right. Now we're just going to draw some lines to show that this is indeed inside in a house. And then we'll draw a chair. Now I am borrowing from my personal memory to complement or populate this drawing today. And this would have been a dinner scene maybe when I was a younger man or an older child, equally said. I did like to practice mustache wearing, and my hair was perfectly parted. But I always kept it shaved from this point, from the crown downward. And of course, there I am, sitting with my feet under the table and my shorts, my favorite pair of shorts. Often joining us for dinner time would have been my grandmother, who, as my students know, would wear a ghost costume while at home about 99% of the time. She did cut out eye patches for her eyes and her mouth so she could breathe. She also tended to hairspray her hair so it would grow straight up in this beautiful upwards sprouting pattern, almost a sprouting hairdo, if you will. And one of her hands was always inside of a mitten. And she had these beautiful slippers. Oh, if I would have had a pair of slippers like that, I would have been the most popular person in my hometown. Here's her chair. And my grandmother would always eat plain spaghetti noodles mixed with rice and a red sauce. I don't use the color red in my drawing, so it's okay to draw an arrow and write the word red. Also in attendance on some nights of family dinner was my grandmother's friend, who I like to consider family. And he had an eye, or two eyes, a nose, and he had the most wonderful haircut where he would shave all of his hair except for the very back, and he grew it out real almost elegantly like. And here he is. Now remember, your thumb is your smallest digit and it's on the inside, and we did use forks. And he really liked to eat Vienna sausages. That was his preferred meal, so we can draw those here. All right, and of course he did have 2 legs, and he was often barefooted, and he did have a nipple. 2 nipples actually, so we can draw those. And remember, your biggest toe, or your big toe, is the biggest toe. Let's keep our scale right, so as we get closer to the viewpoint of the viewer, we're just going to color these chairs in here. And I was allowed for dessert 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. We won't draw that because it wasn't dessert time yet. So I was allowed also 1/4 piece of bread. So what I'm going to do for a piece of bread, white bread, is we'll draw a piece, and then we're going to go down and across. And now I'm just going to erase all but 1/4 of that piece of bread. And then underneath that, I'm going to draw a paper towel. I wasn't allowed to use plates, as were my grandmother's friend and my grandmother. I was able to use a piece of toilet paper that still had use to it. We didn't like to throw anything away. All right. Now, in addition to that, my grandmother's friend would oftentimes have some alcoholic beverages here. One type of alcoholic beverage is a beer. Beer, B-E-E-R. It's just another word for a lager. And there would often be bottles that were consumed down here. So he did not waste. So he stayed hydrated. A good thing about my grandmother's friend, he did stay hydrated. My grandmother would enjoy a glass of red liquid. Whenever I asked to try some, she would say, "Please do no whining tonight." And I would proceed not to whine. In the dining room, we did have some art on the wall. It was of some blackbirds, also called ravens. Ravens are also called crows. If you spell the word crow backwards, you get the word work. Crows/ravens are some of the hardest workers of any animal. They're able to build dams faster, more efficient, and sturdier than the common North American beaver. A lot of people don't know that crows do build dams. And not sky dams, but water dams. Now, of course, crows, just like any other bird, are going to have paws to stand upon. And maybe there's an acorn or two falling from the sky here. And maybe there is a winged human who is learning to fly. All right, let's keep going. Just drawing a wall register. Now, we didn't have air conditioning, but we did have conditioning, and this is where the conditioned air would come out. The reason I'm looking back this way, if you can see my eye right there, is this is true. There was always a peculiar noise, almost sounded like words that I could hear coming from this vent. So these are not only air action lines, which are similar to air movement lines, but they're also sound lines. That's one of the things I want to stress to my students. We can't draw sound, but we can draw sound lines. And we can also draw maybe something like that. That's what I heard a lot of times at dinner time. Not sure what it was. Probably something to do with the system itself. All right, and over on this side, I was allowed to keep my sticks. So here are some of my sticks, and I would glue cotton to some of the ends of the sticks and pretend that they were hair. And my sticks would have arms and legs, and I didn't want them to be naked. That wasn't allowed for my stick friends. So I would usually put a leaf right here, and in this case this was a girl stick friend, so I would also have a leaf up here, and then little pieces of pine straw. I also would work on crafts with my sticks, and this is me attempting to build a chair. It's kind of laying on the ground. These are sticks from the maple, the North American maple husk tree. And I also built a robot made of sticks. If you'd like, I can kind of draw what that robot looked like facing us. The robot had a boxy head, or a rectangle head, and then a square body, and sticks, and sticks, and then it had pine straw. It had a very similar haircut that my grandmother's friend had. All right, there you have it, folks. A photorealistic family dinner scene. If you were unable to attain the level of skill that you see here today, please do not fret. I have been doing this for years and years and years. If you continue practicing, one day you will attain this level of mastery. As I always say, I hope you have a rest of your day.